Hello students. In last class we have seen about the Huygens principle and what would be the difference to the ray optics and wave optics. In what case do we get the light as a wave? In what case do we get the light as a particle nature? And let me repeat once again the Huygens principle. According to the Huygens principle, each point on a wavefront acts as a source of secondary disturbance and it travels forward in a medium with the speed of light. In that medium, a new wavefront is constructed by drawing common tangent to the all the wavefronts. By joining common tangents to the all the wavefronts, new wavefront is constructed. And the purpose of the Huygens principle is to find the shape of the wavefront at a later time. When you know the shape of the wavefront at t is equal to 0, then what will be the shape of the wavefront at a later time? You can find the shape of the new wavefront by using this Huygens principle. And let me explain how is this Huygens principle explain the wave as a light follows as a wave, and using this how can you explain the refraction of the light and reflection of light. So we know laws of refraction of light and laws of reflection of the light, is it? Let me explain here verification of the laws of reflection and verify the laws of refraction using Huygens principle. Verify the laws of refraction using Huygens principle. Not only that, even we can verify the laws of reflection using Huygens principle by using a plane wave. Let us consider a plane wave. In last class we have seen about the what type of wavefronts we have, what type of spherical waves and plane wave and cylindrical wave. Now, by using a plane wave, let me explain how to verify the laws of refraction. To verify the laws of refraction using the Huygens principle, let me consider a boundary separating two media. P dash is a boundary separating two media. Is it? P dash is a boundary separating two media. P dash is a boundary separating two media. Boundary separating two media. Now, the refract index of the light in that medium, that is what refract index of the light in first medium is n1. Whereas refract index of the second medium is n2. What do you know? n1, n2 are the refractive indices. N1 and 2 are the refractive indices. Let the speed of light in first medium is v1, whereas speed of light in second medium is v2. Speed of light v1 and v2 are speed of light in media, respective media. Now we need to verify the laws of refraction using Huygens principle by what type of wave we are considering? Plane wave. Is it? Let me take a plane wave which is AB represents a plane wave. Plane wave. This is what AB is a incident plane wave. AB is a plane wave which is incident on this boundary separating two medium, which is P P dash at an angle I, with the surface angle is what? I. Then what is this angle? I. That means the angle of incidence on this surface is I. Now whenever the light is sent on the surface, we know according to the Huygens principle, each point on a wavefront acts as a source of secondary disturbance, and again it produces plane waves at that point. Wavefronts it produces, so that the wavefront at B, it forwards in a medium, which forwards in a medium and reaches to a refracting surface P dash, which is at point D. Let us take this C. C is what? Point at which this wavefront from B touches to the surface. Now, what would be the distance traveled by the wavefront which is at B to the C? This is the distance traveled by the wavefront from B to C. Now, what is the distance? We know that speed is equal to distance by time. Then time distance is equal to what? You know, speed into time. Speed into time. So that what we can understand here, already you know the speed of light in this medium is v1 and time for which it is propagating v to c is t. Then vc is equal to v1 t. T is the time for which the time taken by the wavefront to travel from b to c. v1 t. v1. But meanwhile, within this time, what will be happening? The wavefront which is at A, the wavefront which is at A, it also travels into the second medium. Within the same time, the wavefront at A travels into the second medium. With what speed does it travel? In a second medium, speed of light is what? v2, and in what time it has to travel? T. That's what would happen. Let me explain that the refractive index of the second medium is greater than refractive index of the first medium. So that we don't know what would be the distance traveled by the wavefront at in a second medium. But from C to, we know already the speed is v2, and then in the same time interval, then what you have to take? You draw the arc of the radius from A. Arc of the radius. What should be the arc of the radius? Which is v2 into t. In the same time interval only. Then draw an arc of radius. Draw an arc of radius. Arc of radius. v2t as a center. Which got A as a center. A as a center. So what will be happen here? What will be happen? So let me draw as an arc of radius from A as a center. Draw an arc of radius which is as A to v2t. Now you join the from point C to the, you draw the tangent at this point. Draw the tangent at this point. Draw a common tangent to this one. Common tangent to this one. Now join from C to the tangent which is from this one. Then this is what here refracted wavefront, here E represents this. Now what we can write here? This is nothing but R. Now here it is R. R represents what? Angle of refraction, and you may observe that the tangent here is 90 degrees, and this is what I am here 90 degrees. Therefore, what does this CE represents? refracted plane wave. This is what here, refracted plane wave. Refracted plane wave. Refracted plane wave. C represents what? Refracted plane wave. A represents what? Incident plane wave. C represents what? Refracted plane wave. But what is our purpose is here? Our purpose is to verify the laws of refraction using Huygens principle. What are the laws of refraction? We know that the ratio of the sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction in second medium is remains constant for a given pair of the medium. And not only that, the incident light and the normal of the incidence and the refracted ray should lie in the same plane. For that purpose, let me show here. C is a refracted plane wavefront, A is a incident plane wavefront, then AB is a incident plane. AB is incident plane wave. CE represents refracted plane. Refracted. Now, what is this AE? AE is nothing but AE is equal to A to E. What is that one? V to T. V to T as a radius we have drawn. V to T as a radius. Now, from the triangle, you can see that from the triangle A, B, A, C, B, A, C. And similarly, from the triangle A, C, E or E, A, C, whatever it may be. From the triangle B, A, C, from the triangle B, A, C, what is sin I? Sin I, what is the sin I? What is the angle of sin? We know that opposite by hypotenuse. BC by AC. BC by AC. But already we know that what do we mean by BC? BC is nothing but the distance traveled by the wavefront from B to C. V1t. That is equal to V1t by AC. Similarly, from the triangle ACE. Triangle ACE. Sin R is equal to sin R is nothing but what again AE by AC. AE by AC. AE represents what? V to T. V to T by AC. So let me take here, just divide sin A and sin R. Sin I by sin R is equal to sin I by sin R is equal to V1 by V2. V1 by V2. AC get cancelled. AC get cancelled. So that what we can write here V1 by V1t by V2t. So that remaining everything will be cancelled. So that you have it here V1 by V2. But remember what do you mean by the absolute refractive index? Absolute refractive index means the ratio of the sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction. That is what relative refractive index. But the ratio of the speed of light in vacuum to the speed of light in a medium represents the absolute refractive index. Now we know already N1 is the refractive index of the light in first medium and N2 is the refractive index of light in second medium. Then what you can write here? Refractive indices. Refractive indices. Here refractive indices. N1 is equal to C by speed of light in first medium is V1, whereas N2 is equal to speed of light by in vacuum to the speed of light. And let us substitute these values in first equation. What do you get now? Therefore, sin I by sin R is equal to sin A by sin R is equal to, what do you mean by V1? V1 is nothing but what you know, C by N1. Then C by N1 by C by N2. That is equal to, you can write here N2 by N1. N2 by N1 is nothing but what you know, refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. That is equal to N to 1. That's what N1 sin I is equal to N2 sin R, which is N2 1 is equal to sin I by sin R. Hence, the Snell's law of refraction is verified here. That's what. And one more, that incident ray, normal at the point of incidence, and the refracted all lie in the same plane, so that you can observe here the incident plane wave and refracted plane wave and the surface at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane, so that the loss of refraction is verified. Even we have taken the incident plane wave in a rare medium and refracted plane wave is in a dense medium, but the same thing we can get into the, we can derive or we can verify using even the light passes from plane wave passes from denser medium to the rarer medium. And let me explain the laws of reflection using Huygens principle. Laws of reflection using Huygens principle. Is it just we have seen that with laws of refraction, but laws of reflection using Huygens principle. Just to keep concentration on this diagram, what we have taken here, we have taken the boundary separating two surfaces PP dash. Light passing from rarer medium to the denser medium. So whenever according to the Huygens principle, each point on this wavefront will act as a secondary disturbance, so that the wavefront from B to C travels a distance V1t. Now, then what will be the distance traveled by the wavefront at A in a second medium? V2t. So how to get that one? We draw an arc of radius V2t as A as the center, and from this one we have drawn the tangent, join the tangent from C to this arc at E to be said. So then AE is nothing but the distance traveled, and BC is nothing but distance traveled. Even wavelength BC is nothing but what is known wavelength of the light, and AE represents what? Wavelength of the light in second medium. Then what you get? Lambda 1 by lambda 2. From this one you can take AE represents lambda 1 by lambda 2. AE represents lambda 1. BC represents lambda 2. Then lambda 1 by lambda 2 is equal to V1 by V2, which is N2 by N1. Is it? Just you observe clearly this and try to understand, copy the points here and what we have to follow the steps in this direction. Let us explain the laws of reflection, verification of the laws of reflection using Huygens principle. Now, again, reflection means we need to have the reflecting surface MN as a reflecting surface. Is it? We have to verify the laws of reflection. What do you mean by the laws of reflection? We know very well that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Incident ray, normal at the point of incidence, and reflected ray all in the same plane. Now, MN is a reflecting surface. Reflecting surface, whereas which is what type of wave we are taking? Plane wave, is it? Then AB is a plane wave. AB is a plane wave which is incident at an angle I, and this at angle of incidence. Now, when AB is a plane wave, incident plane wave, AB is a incident plane wave, which is incident on the reflecting surface MN is a reflecting surface. Now let V be the speed of light in this medium. Speed of light in this medium. C is the speed of light in this medium. C be the speed of light in this medium. Now what we know, according to the Huygens principle, each point of the wavefront will be act as a secondary source, so that from B, a wavelength which is at a B, wavelength which is at a B, it travels a distance and with a speed c in a time interval t. Now the wavelength which is at B passes to C. Is it? B to C. What will be the distance from B to C? BC is nothing but C into D. C is here what? C is here what? Speed of light. Otherwise, let me take here V is the speed of light in that medium. Then what is BC? BC is nothing but V to T. Is it BC? Distance traveled is equal to speed into time. Now, within this time, whatever the distance traveled by the B to C, the wavelength from B to C, Vt, within the same time, what happens? At each and every point, we get the secondary wavelength. Now, even at A also we have wavelength, and even that the wavelength at A will be reflected. It will be reflected back from this reflecting surface cell. Is it? Now to get this reflected wave, let us how do we get? Then we draw the and as A as a center, we draw an arc of radius which is equal to BC. BC as a radius, we draw an arc of radius which is as BC. Then from here, we draw an arc of radius which is equal to the line BC. Here is what? 90 degrees. And from C to this arc, you draw a common tangent, and join is from here. Then this is what? E. Now you can observe clearly that here. Then this is what here reflected plane wave. ACE represents reflected plane wave. AB represents incident plane wave. Is it? Then C, and that is also even A is equal to what you know? V into T. Within the same time, it reflects from A, and with what speed does it reflect? Because here the medium is same, therefore the refractive index is same, then the speed of light is remains same, and the distance traveled also same. Then AE is also equal to the V into T. Is it? Now you can observe clearly that from this one AB is a incident plane wave, then CE, this is nothing but what? Reflected plane wave. Reflected plane wave. Now from this diagram, from triangle ABC and AEC are congruent. Is it? Angle ABC and AEC triangles are congruent. Congruent. So what would happen for this one? This 90 is 90. Then what would be angle I and angle R remains same. So that what you can take here, angle BAC is equal to the angle ACE. Therefore, angle BAC is equal to angle ACE. Angle BAC is nothing but what you know, angle of incidence. Angle ECA is nothing but what? ACE is nothing but what? Angle of reflection. So that angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection, and angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Therefore, angle of incidence, angle I, is equal to angle of reflection, angle of reflection, angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection. This is what even you can observe clearly that the incident plane wave front and reflected plane wave and the boundary reflecting surface all will be likely same thing. Okay, then what will be happen? What will be happen when a light ray or wave travels from one medium to the another medium? Is it? But we know already for mirrors or lenses, whenever the light is incident on a convex lens, when a parallel beam of light is incident on a convex lens, what would be happen? It would be converges to a point, converges to a focus. Similarly, here also, if a plane wave is incident on a convex lens, whenever a plane wave is incident on a convex lens, refraction of light through refraction of light through a lens, prism and mirror using plane wave. Refraction of a plane wave, let us take plane wave through a lens, let me take, so already we know that if the light ray is incident, parallel beam of light is incident. When a parallel beam of light is incident on a lens, what would be happen? It would be converges to a second focus. It would be converges to a second focus. F2. But now we are taking a parallel beam of light. But by using Huygens principle, if a plane wave is incident, is it? Let me take, just we have taken a convex lens. Anything can be taken, just we are verifying with the convex lens. When you have taken with a convex lens, now a plane wave is incident on this one. Plane wave. This is what plane wave. Now whenever the plane wave is incident on this convex lens, then how it will be refracted? Even the plane wave, even after the refraction also, does it? Plane wave only, or any other way does it? Will it become as any other wave? Let us see. Now whenever a plane wave is incident on this convex lens, you can observe that the convex lens is having more thickness at the edges and thin at the periphery. So when we have like this, so what will happen? First, the plane wave, whenever it passes through this lens, then at edges it will be forward, it will be refracted easily. So within a less time, these edges will be refracted. But the central portion of this plane wave get delayed because of it has to travel a more distance within the lens. Is it okay? Then central portion is delayed. You can see. Let me draw here. Edge parts are already forwarded, but the central portion of this plane wave get delayed. This is what central portion of the plane wave get delayed. So what would happen? This is like a spherical wave frame, but it would be appears to converges to a focus. This is what here spherical wave frame. This is what incident plane wave, but it is what spherical wave, which is converges to a focus. Is it? So what you can understand here? When a plane wave passes through a convex lens, it refracted as a spherical wave, which is converging to the focus. Plane wave passes through a convex lens, refracted as a what it is? Spherical wave which is converging to the focus. Spherical wave converges to a focus. Converges to a focus. And let me discuss about the plane wave. If it passes through the prism and if it passes through the mirror, what will be happen? If it passes through a plane wave, passes through a prism and mirror also, let me discuss. Now, here that we have seen for a convex lens, let me take a thin prism. For a thin prism, when a plane wave passes through a thin prism, plane wave passes through a thin prism, passes through a thin prism. What will be? Let me take here. This is what a plane wave, and here we have a incident plane wave. This is what thin prism, and it is what incident plane wave. Now, whenever it passes through this prism, you can see that here the thickness is less and here thickness is more. Is it? That means the plane wave has to travel less thickness here and it has to travel more thickness here. Then what will be happening? That the top part of this incident plane wave get refracted within a distance, whereas the bottom part of the plane wave or the wavelets which are at bottom part of the plane wave gets delayed. So that what happened? This inclined, this plane wave will be inclined. Refracted plane wave, but it is inclined to the direction. So the when a plane wave passes through a prism, what a thin prism, then lower portion of it delayed. Lower portion of it delayed. But how it will be refracted? As plane wave. Plane wave will be refracted as a plane wave. Now, the same thing even we can see for a convex mirror. Whenever it passes through a convex mirror, we take here or a concave mirror. to take here concave mirror. Concave mirror. So whenever the plane wave is incident on a concave mirror. So what will be happen? It is plane wave is incident on a concave mirror. So what? Now this light passes through this mirror. Then whenever it passes through this mirror, what will be happen? You can observe that the lower portion and upper portion of this plane wave will be get reflected easily, but the central portion of this plane wave has to be traveled more distance so that it gets delayed. Then what will be reflected plane wave friend? You can observe here the plane wave friend will be gets delayed. So this is what type of wavefront can you observe? Spherical wavefront. Spherical wave. It reflects as what? A spherical wave which is converges to a focus. Spherical wave converges to a focus of concave. So like this we can discuss the refraction of the plane wave using any type of the lens or mirror. Now we know already in your previous classes in first year you have studied about the sound waves, and even in the sound waves, let us take when a loudspeaker which is moving away from you, how do you feel? If the loudspeaker approaches to you, how do you feel? The loudspeaker is in the stable position, but you are moving towards the loudspeaker, how do you feel? And you are moving away from the loudspeaker, what will happen? So this is what, when there is a relative motion between the source of sound and observer, then there is an apparent change in frequency of light sound will be takes place, and this effect we call it as Doppler effect. That is what in lower class, in previous classes we have studied about the Doppler effect in sound, and let me explain about the Doppler effect in light. Doppler effect. Doppler effect in light. Is it the Doppler effect? Okay, Doppler. What is Doppler? For example, this Doppler effect is very useful to find the radial velocities of the galaxies. So it is useful in light to find the radial velocity of galaxies. Radial velocity of the galaxy. Now what will happen? For example, the source of light which is moving away from the observer. For an astronomer, it is very useful in astronomy. Doppler effect will be useful in astronomy. Now, if the source of light is moving away from the observer, then what happens? The wavelengths from the source will be travelled away from the observer. So what will be happen? Wavelength of that light will be increases, or it will be the time taken by the wavelengths to reach the observers will be increases. So that what happens to the frequency of light decreases. Is it decreases? Now, whenever the source of light moving away, which are having more wavelength than in the light, red light is having more wavelength. So what will happen? From the source, probably you will get the red signals. Only the red signals can be received. So that what we call this one, this is called by the astronomers as redshift. Redshift. Is it? As you know, this gap is more for violet than red, depending upon the wavelength. Is it? Now, in a astronomy, what do you mean by the redshift? Redshift. What do you mean by redshift? The increase in the wavelength of the light when the source of light will be moves away from the observer. Increasing in wavelength of the light. Increasing in wavelength of the light. Increasing in wavelength of the light when source move away from the observer, away from the detector or receiver, whoever the receiver. Whoever will be the receiving. Then the Doppler effect is very useful in a medium. Now, for a receiver, that means what will be happening? Why is the increasing in wavelength will call this redshift? Let us take here we have a planet or a surface, and some galaxy is moving away from them. So this is what here we have an observer or receiver. So what will be happening? This source light from this one, whatever the light, whenever it is moving away, wavelength will be increases. The distance has to be the light traveled by the distance traveled by light has to travel more. So that what happens? The time taken will be is more. Time taken more, and distance is more. And whenever we have a distance more, so what will happen? Only the more wavelength of light can be reaches to the surface. That's why only the red signals can be absorbed by this, received by this receiver on the surface of this planet. But if the time taken will be more, what happens to the frequency? Frequency will be decreases. Frequency of light, what happens? Decreases. That's what increasing in wavelength of the light or decreasing in frequency of the light is called redshift. And even if the source is moving towards the source, if the speed of this source is v and speed of light in that medium is vacuum, speed of light in that medium vacuum is c. So let me here, for example, if the source is moving towards the observer, what will happen? Whenever the source is moving towards the observer, what happens? Here again, the distance should be traveled by the light is less. So whenever it travels, what happens? Less wavelength of the light will be refracted, scattered more, whereas long wavelength will be scattered less. So because of this, whenever I am moving towards this planet, almost blue colors will be visible, so that decreasing in wavelength of the light or increasing in frequency. Is it or not? Whenever it is moving towards this observer, what happens here? What happens here? Distance will be less. The time taken by the wavefronts to reach the receiver is less. Time taken is less. But what happens to frequency? Increases. Then this is decreasing wavelength of the light is called blue shift. So what do you mean by blue shift? Decreasing in wavelength. Decreasing in wavelength of the light. Decreasing in wavelength of the light or increasing in frequency of the light. Is it? That is nothing but increasing in frequency. Here, increasing in wavelength or decreasing frequency is called when source moves towards the observer. towards observer. Towards observer is called blue shift. For example, here the observer or receiver here. Now, in an astronomical galaxy is moving towards this one with a speed v, radial velocity. Here also the speed is v r. Now, what happens in the distance? Wavelength will be decreases. Frequency will be increases. Nu frequency will be increases. The wavelength has to travel a less distance. The wavelength will take less time to travel to reach the receiver, so that frequency will be more. Decreasing in wavelength, the astronomers thought. Now let V R be the radial velocity of source. Radial velocity of source. Radial velocity of source. Radial velocity of source we are. C is the speed of light in vacuum. Speed of light in vacuum. Speed of light in vacuum. Is it? Speed of light in vacuum. So what will happen here? Already we know in first speeds we know the upright chain frequency also. Then delta mu by nu is equal to, even you can write delta lambda by lambda, which that is equal to v radial by c. V r represents what? Radial velocity of the source. And even you can take, if the frequency increases, what happens? If the wavelength increases, frequency happens, decreases, and this is what? Minus v radial by velocity. This is the difference in the frequency of the sound in Doppler effect. And let us show one example. Let me discuss one example related to this Doppler effect. So this is the example. And before that, one more point let me discuss. The Doppler effect in light is applicable only when radial velocity of the source is less than speed of light in a vacuum. Speed of light in vacuum. And if the radial velocity of the source is comparable to the speed of light in vacuum, then we need to go for again special theory of relativity, Einstein's theory of relativity. Even if the source is moving away, sign convention, source moves away, we take Vr as positive. Vr sign speed of radial velocity will be taken as a positive. If it is moves towards this, radial velocity will be taken as a sign. Okay, what speed should be a galaxy move with respect to us so that the sodium light at 5.589.0 nanometer is observed at 5 to 9.6 nanometer. Is it? Let us write. What do you know? We need to calculate speed of the galaxy. Radial velocity has to be calculated. So what is there? Initially known wavelengths are given. Easier. Wavelength increase or decrease? Wavelength is decreasing. Wavelength decrease means what you call it is a blue shift. Okay. Then wavelength lambda 2 minus lambda 1 is equal to 589 nanometer, whereas lambda 2 is equal to 589.6 nanometer. So that the wavelength is increased, so we call it as a increasing wavelength friendship. Now what is Doppler effect phenomenon? Delta lambda by lambda is equal to radial velocity by c, where c represents what? Speed of light in vacuum, 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Now you start the values lambda 2 minus lambda 1 by lambda 1 into is equal to what is radial velocity, that will be calculated by c. You substitute values. Therefore, radial velocity is equal to Vr is equal to, you can write here lambda 2 minus lambda 1, which is nothing but what is this value? 589.6 minus 589 by lambda 1 value is nothing but 589 is equal to V radial by 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Now 589.6 minus 589, what again? 0.6. Then radial velocity is equal to 0.6 by 589. 0.6. Here nanometer, this is also nanometer, so no problem regarding to the units. And here into 3 into 10 power 8. Is it? Then what you can write here? Vr is equal to, you can take here 10 power 3, 0.6 into 10 power 3, 600 by 589 into 3 into, what do you get here? 10 power 5 meter per second. Is it? 600 by 589, what do you get that value? Around 3.1.02. So overall we get 3.06 into 10 power 5 meter per second. Is it 600 by 589? 1.02 around, then 3.06 into 10 power 5 meter per second. Even here what is it? Even if you have written, you can write it is 306 kilometer per second. Now you can observe here Vr what it is positive. Then what does it represent? Vr positive means the galaxy moves away. Then galaxy moves away. And what do you call this one? Redshift. This is also called, it is a redshift. This is what we have discussed today. The verification of the laws of refraction and laws of reflection using Huygens principle. And whenever a plane wave passes through the optical instruments like a lenses or the mirrors or a prism, how it would be refracted, and thereafter what do you mean by the Doppler effect, and how can we calculate the wavelengths or the frequencies, and what would be the redshift and blue shift, and this sign convention where when source moves away, radial velocity of the source can be taken as positive, and the condition for this one, we need to take the radial velocity of the source is less than that of the speed of the light in vacuum. Otherwise, if the radial velocity of the source is comparable to the speed of light in vacuum, then we have to go for a theory of relativity. So based on that one, we can explain this Doppler effect. For board exams, you have to practice this verification of the laws of refraction, laws of reflection using Huygens principle asking for 3 marks, and laws of refraction is asking for 3 marks and 5 marks. And what do we mean by Doppler effect? What is Doppler shift? And what do you mean by redshift and blue shift? These questions you have to be practiced, and keep watching and practice perfectly. Thank you.